everybody, it's Jennifer, and today I am going to be doing just like a talk through video. We're not going to be doing my makeup or anything crazy like that. I've actually just gotten home from my classes that I had this morning, but I wanted to be sure I got a video up for Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. It's also called PCOS way more commonly. PCOS affects a lot of women, and I have been diagnosed with Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, and September is PCOS Awareness Month, so I wanted to kind of tell you guys my story, a little bit more about the diagnosis if you are unaware about things about it, if you're unaware of the syndrome. Before we start, like always, if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Jennifer, and I hope you decide to subscribe. I'm doing another giveaway at 200 subscribers, and it's gonna be a ton of fun, so think about doing that. I'll have my Instagram and some literature about PCOS linked down below in the description box if you guys are more interested in it. So, I think that's it. I am 24 years old. I'll be 25 in February, and I have had PCOS, well, I've had it my whole life, but I got diagnosed with it when I was 15, almost 16, and I had gone to the doctor because I was having super irregular periods, like maybe 2 or 3 a year. It was just super not regulated at all. And I went to the doctor. My mom took me to, see what the problem was, if I needed, to be put on birth control to regulate my periods. And I was talking to my doctor, and she kind of got to looking at me and asking me some more questions, and she gave me literature, a pamphlet on PCOS, and she was like, look at these symptoms and side effects and see, like, tell me what all you think you have. And there were like 30 things on there, and I had, in my opinion, I had like 15 of them. I had almost half, if not more, of all of these symptoms. So then she started talking to me more and more, and they did an ultrasound, and sure enough, I have cysts on my ovaries. And some of the problems with PCOS, the main thing is that you become insulin resistant. So most people with PCOS have problems losing weight or maintaining a healthy weight. We have excess body hair. We have a hormone imbalance. So most of the time you have a lot of excess body hair. You have very acne prone skin. You can have tubular breasts, irregular periods, and it does affect your fertility, which of course I was like a teenager. I wasn't thinking about having kids anytime soon. And everything was fine, and she told me, some things I can do to try to help, lower the appearance of my symptoms, which the main thing that I've always been told, I am not a doctor, so I can't like for real tell you, but I can tell you what my doctor has always told me, and she has always told me that if you live a healthier lifestyle and you eat healthier and you work out and you take care of your body, basically, that your symptoms will start to simmer down a little bit. But because people with PCOS are insulin resistant, it is incredibly hard to lose weight and maintain a healthy weight. I'm not saying that I'm overweight because I have PCOS, but I am as overweight as I am, and I struggle so bad trying to lose weight. That is because I have a hormone imbalance. I have an insulin resistance. I don't process foods like normal people do. So she has always told me, basically, if you lose weight, maintain healthy weight, eat better, and exercise, your symptoms will be better. So just letting you guys know some of the symptoms that I have to this day is I have excess body hair. For those of you that know me like in real life and see me not just on camera, I shave my arms, I shave my face, I shave my stomach, I shave my legs and, you know, my cuchicabra, my underarms, and I shave my lower back because that is where I have excess body hair. I am naturally blonde, so my body hair is blonde, so it doesn't, it's not like super easy to see, but it bothers me because it's thick like a man. It's not good. So I do shave the majority of my body, which is not fun. It takes a long time. I hate it. If I could afford laser hair removal, I would get it. I also have very acne prone skin. If I breathe incorrectly, I will break out. You know, I have super irregular periods. I struggled with fertility, and I do have tubular breasts, which is so weird to talk about on camera. And basically tubular breast just means instead of like a rounded shape, you kind of slope down at the top and then round out on the bottom, which is what mine do. So, and that is just so you know, classified as a deformity. So insurance would cover to have my breast fixed, like a boob job, because it's considered a deformity, which hurts my feelings, but it's okay. So those are most of the symptoms and side effects that I still have. When I was younger, I had a few more, but I've kind of grown out of some of them. So the main thing with PCOS that people around my age or older focus on and freak out about is fertility. It does affect your fertility. It is so hard to conceive when you have PCOS, mainly because you don't have a period, which means you're not ovulating. It's just a whole thing. So when I was 15, 16, I got diagnosed. My doctor decided to put me on the birth control pill. I was on ortho-tricycline, and it was too much for me. My acne got worse. My periods were like 5 or 6 days long, super heavy. So I went back to the doctor, we discussed everything, and then she switched me to ortho-tricycline light, which was just lower hormones in it. Hormone correction is one of the easiest ways to combat your symptoms with PCOS. So I was on ortho-tricycline light for probably 4 years, 3 or 4 years straight, and then I just stopped taking them because I'm a terrible person. And as soon as I stopped taking them, my period stopped. I didn't have a period for over a year. My skin got really bad. My hair growth was too much. And just all of my symptoms started flooding back. I was gaining weight way easier. I was having problems losing weight. It was a whole thing. So then I decided that, you know, I'm an adult now, I'm in college, you know, I live on my own, I don't have my mom right here. Well, she's still right here, but you know what I mean. She's not, you know, reminding me to take my pill every day at the same time. So I ended up with the Nexplanon implant, and I do, let me find it. I have a scar from getting it. It's right there. Fancy. And those are good for 3 years. I got that put in, and I immediately felt better. My skin was doing better. My hair was not as crazy. I was having a period again, but Nexplanon implants can stop your period. So it felt better that I was on something to make me stop having a period, you know, rather than just not having it because my body doesn't function correctly. So I had that, and they're good for 3 years, and I don't even remember what the problem was, but I ended up taking it out after like a year. But because my hormones were doing better and I was, you know, working out and dieting and actually trying to be healthy, I had lost, I think it was like 90 to 95 pounds. So my arm, instead of being so voluptuous up here, it was like saggy, loose skin, which is why my scar is so big right there. They had to cut to get my Nexplanon implant out because it had turned a little bit. So there was that. And then I didn't have anything. Let me think. I got my first Nexplanon taken out last January, like January of 2018, and James and I had always discussed having a family and being married, you know, things you do when you are in a relationship for a while, they come up, and we, you know, both decided we want kids, we want to be married, you know, the whole spiel, we want all of that. And I didn't have my implant in, so my hormones were out of whack, my skin was bad, I wasn't ovulating, I wasn't having a period, everything was just falling apart around me. And I skipped something, I'm sorry. James and I were scheduled to get married in 2017, and I canceled the wedding, but you know what I'm trying to say. We ended up not getting married. But I remember a few months before our wedding, my mom and I had gone to my doctor just for a check-in and everything. And my mom was so excited that I was getting married. You know, she wants grandbabies and all this. And I will never forget her asking my doctor, you know, is there a chance that she can get pregnant? And my doctor said she could probably get pregnant and conceive, but she would have to be put on to fertility drugs. She'd have to have something to help her, and then she would be termed high risk because I was on fertility drugs. And that immediately crushed my heart, because when you first get diagnosed, I was like 15, 16, I'm not thinking about having kids, you know. And now that I'm getting married, I want kids, I want a family, and she's just told me there's something wrong with my body and I can't do it, I have to have help. And it kind of broke my heart, it freaked me out. So fast forward to January of 2018, I have taken out my implant, and everything's just all out of whack all over again, like immediately, probably like 2 days after I stop taking birth control or I get my implant removed. Everything comes flooding back and it's trash. But anyway, so I don't have my implant, and you know, I'm living life, being intimate, and I get pregnant, and of course I don't have my implant in, and I get pregnant apparently in April of 2018, and I don't know that I'm pregnant until I fell down my steps, I hurt my back, I ended up at the ER. And you know, they want to do an x-ray of my back, and they're like, chance of pregnancy, and I was like, no, I can't have kids, because I just completely gave up. I just started telling people I didn't want kids, I don't like kids, I can't have kids, no kids in my life, thank you. And so that's just how I dealt with my infertility. I just said I didn't want kids so it didn't hurt as bad, if that makes sense. So I'm at the ER, I've hurt my back, I can't freaking sit straight, I can't walk, I can barely like stand up, I'm all like crooked and bent over, and they end up doing a urine test, and he comes back in and he's like, you're pregnant, and I'm like, you a damn lie, I'm not pregnant. Because I hadn't had a period like in so long. I really don't have periods very often. And so he's like, we can do a blood test, and I'm like, oh, you're gonna do a blood test. So they do a blood test, and sure enough, he comes back in and he's like, yeah, you're definitely pregnant, and I would say off of your HCG levels that you're about 3 to 4 weeks pregnant. And I'm like, and they were so very kind to let me sit in the ER and cry on my bed uncontrollably for about 3 hours. And my mom was like so excited, and she's like, yay. And David, who is super overprotective of me, had no reaction. He was just stonewall. So that was weird. And then probably the end of that week, I go to see my midwife for the first time, and she doesn't want to do a dating ultrasound yet. She just wants to, you know, meet me, talk to me, ask me about symptoms, because I have like diagnosed crazy anxiety, medicated, like everything. So a lot of my symptoms from anxiety were overlapping into pregnancy, which is one of the reasons I didn't realize I was pregnant. Like, my stomach would hurt really bad, and I'd get nauseous, and I'd get sick, and I was tired, but those are all symptoms of anxiety. So I wasn't really thinking anything of it And then she's like, well, off of your symptoms, I'd say maybe 8 to 10 weeks. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can deal with that. I got time. So then the next week, I go in and she's finally going to do a dating ultrasound, which is an internal ultrasound with the probe. And the woman, who was very rude, you know, inserted, and she was looking around and she said, well, I can't see anything except for legs. And she like yanked the wand out, and I was like, what? Like, what? And then she does a regular ultrasound, and sure enough, I am 20 weeks pregnant. I am halfway through my pregnancy. Had no clue I was pregnant until the week before I was dated. So I immediately freaked out. I was so far along pregnant when I found out that I could have found out the gender at my first ultrasound. It was traumatizing. I was freaked out. They had told me for 8 years that I couldn't have kids. I would not have kids unless I was on some type of fertility drug. Like, and now they're telling me I'm halfway through a pregnancy. I had no idea. Like, it wasn't an ideal time in my life. I was in college, you know. I was dead set on getting my life together before I brought somebody else into it. And so I freaked out. So the weirdest things happened, and I wasn't taking medication to help my PCOS. I wasn't taking care of myself by any means. College kid, I worked full time. It was a mess. I was a mess. I was not taking care of myself. I wasn't, you know, being resilient against my PCOS or anything. And here I am, 20 weeks pregnant and freaked out. It all worked out in the end, but because I had gone 20 freaking weeks without any prenatal care, drinking a ton of caffeine, I live off of caffeine, and all of that, and like lifting way too much, I was so scared that something was going to be wrong with Ellie. And then toward the end of my pregnancy, around 37.5 weeks, I went to see my doctor. They asked when I turned 38 weeks because I had gotten to the point where I was having an ultrasound once a week because Ellie was not growing. She had intrauterine growth restriction. So I freaked out really, really bad. And my doctor came in and he asked me when I turned 38 weeks, which is full term. And I told him, it was a Wednesday, and I told him I turned 38 weeks that Friday. And he was like, okay, well, come in through the ER and go up to labor and delivery. We're going to induce you. And I was like, huh? What? So I ended up being induced because they thought Ellie's lungs were going to be underdeveloped. Something was wrong with her because she wasn't growing properly. And so I was, you know, in labor for a million years, it felt like. I finally had Ellie, and it turns out that what was wrong was that my placenta had died too early and was no longer providing nutrients to my child. So Ellie was little. She wasn't like, she didn't go to the NICU at all. We went home the next day, like no problems at all. Ellie was completely healthy. Yeah, she was 6 pounds 1 ounce and 18 inches long. So she was a little itty bitty tiny thing. But there was nothing wrong with her. My placenta had, when I delivered, actually my placenta tore in half, which was not fun. So I had to, we mainly stayed at the hospital as long as we did because I had to get antibiotics because my placenta tore in half and the doctor had to go get it. So I just wanted to share my story about my struggles with PCOS and like my thoughts on it, I guess. PCOS does affect a lot of women, and not everyone that has PCOS, why can't I say that? Not everyone that has PCOS is overweight and extra hairy with bad acne. Not everyone is like that. Some people are very, very petite and have beautiful glowing skin, and they still struggle with fertility due to PCOS. So don't judge people, okay? Always be kind, try to be nice, and for sure, it is the rudest thing ever to ask somebody when they are having kids, why they don't have kids, why don't they want kids. It's rude. Just don't do that. Just let people live their life, okay? Okay. So that is all for this video. I feel like I talked for 18 hours and didn't really say much. I feel like I rambled, was all disorganized and out of order, but it will be okay because I wanted to, for sure, I wanted to get this video up for the month of September. My child is eating and it sounds like she's in a fist fight, but I could not be happier that my PCOS diagnosis was correct, but that I was not completely infertile. Clearly I'm not completely infertile. I have a 9-month-old. She actually turned 9 months old today. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe and thumbs up my video, and have a great day.